guys. Starting my part 2 last week or two. Probably been about 10 days, honestly. Whole bunch of parts came in. It's kind of been like Christmas. Got the tires in, the big block Kendas. I decided to go with a 150 in the back and 130 for the front. Really was no kind of guidelines. I was going to try to get that 170 in there, but I would have modified it so much, the swing arm, to make it fit, and it just didn't make sense because it looks on the bike like the tires aren't crazy big. So I got the tank mounted. I got the tank in from Mike XS. Comes really nice painted. It's kind of a shame that I gotta strip it. And made some temporary mount hooks in there, which I'm gonna finalize now that I got the tank in the right spot. And then that's kind of my back mount for the tank. I got enough room over here that I'm gonna leave for bushings or like some rubber. Same in the front. I got enough room, a little bit of slack where it'll all tighten up. I measured the back of the hoop and got that tack welded in. It's not fully welded. Just kind of basing everything on pictures. So hard. It doesn't say how long you should make it, how short you should make it. I mean, really, when you're doing these XS tanks, they're really, really tight here against the motor. And if you look at the actual bike itself from Classified, if you put the petcock in, the petcock rides right up against this bend right here. And it looks like this part starts right about there. And then when I got to the back here, I kind of just eyed it with the shock mounts. This bike's got that lowered shock mount. So that's actually the mount right there. It's not that. They actually make it, he lowered the bike. I think the guy was like 5'7" or something that we bought it from. And this has to be cut right about here. It looks like that's what they cut, which I'll cut that when I pull the shock off. But it looks like that's about the size of the seat, at least that. I'm going to start on the seat pan, I don't know, a week or two. It's just been kind of a crazy week. We got the front rim and, like I said, the tires. And then we went with on the R6, I went with the 2008 up because the lower triple tree on the 2008 has those bolts in the front. It's just a different style, even though I think a lot of them are interchangeable, but that's what it looked like, what they were using. So I just kind of stuck with that. Everything's sent off to Classified Moto. Kind of had a major problem with that, and on their website they had the wrong address, so I shipped everything to their address. And then I found out when it was going there, when I was speaking to the people there, that wasn't the right address, but they were good enough to go down to the post office and help me find the package, which would have just turned into a mess because it's looking like about a 3-week turnaround on that. Bought some used handlebars on eBay. It kind of just seemed like these are going to be a good starting point. Black, beat up. No sense buying a good set of bars when you're just going to sit there and sand them. And this really kind of fits, you know what I mean? I'll kind of weather it a little bit more. My front end didn't have the axle, so I had to buy the front axle. That's a fender. I got from Mike's, I got the gas tank lid, and then I got a petcock. You know, if you're using these XS tanks, the correct ones, they have 2 petcocks. And I didn't have time when I was ordering I can order another petcock, but I didn't know if I'm able to block that one off and run out of one. The way the tank's designed, it kind of looks like they use both, but I made the tank fit on the other side just so I can add a petcock to it. This was the closest mirror that I could find. They're just cheapies that they put on that bike. I mean, these are the typical that we probably all used on stuff. And I mean, the back, per the bike, you have to sand it. I'm going to be buying an airbrush to kind of weather the motor. This motor is just a little way too clean. And then I got the engine guard done. I mean, there's really nothing complicated to that. It ain't rocket scientist. Just finding out what sizes and stuff you're going to do. Kind of been writing the sizes down if anybody decides to do this. I mean, not saying this is the best. It's my best guesstimate. I got most of the sizes that I used on this stuff. I think this is really pretty accurate, how they're kind of staggered off just a little bit. I'm going to get some foam, some like for a pipe, like for can't think, for a hot water heater, like the hot water heater over there. I'm going to start with that, put a little bit around there, and then I'm going to actually go and get that tape that they use, that medical tape. It looks like it, and it just looks like they made it dirty. Got this bar started. This guy is going to go something like this in here, and then can't really see it because I'm not really liking the way this one's coming out. This bar here, that's going to be the bar that swings up, and you know, this is going to sit somewhere like that, you know, on the back of the bike. I just tacked the headlight grill protector in there and squeezed it on. I don't know, I can't tell whether I like it or not. You know, I'm using a MIG welder, and it would really be best to use a TIG when you're doing stuff like this because it's so precise, and a MIG is just so ugly kind of sometimes, you know, we got to be really careful. Where TIG, I can make it so much cleaner. So most of these parts could change again if I just don't like the overall outcome of it. But that's about it. Classified Moto saying about 3 weeks. You know, and then I'll get this, pop out the races, I'm sure. You swap races and then put the front end in, and I'll have that back tire switched. I just got to go to Harbor Freight and get a bead breaker. I can't get that bead broke the way I usually do tires, and I think it'll come together pretty quick. You know, I bought that Harbor Freight saw, like I said last time, and I used a Harbor Freight, the band that's on there, the saw blade that's on there. I'm going to go buy a really good one. I've been practicing with the cuts. I want to make sure they're exact because when I go to cut that exhaust, there's just no turning back, you know. And that's about it, you know. Any input, any advice, if somebody thinks, you know, if you look at the picture of the bike, it looks, sorry for the shaky camera, I'm trying to get a tripod. If you look at it on Daryl's bike, it looks really close, man. You know, it looks kind of where it's supposed to be. But I'll tell you, I'm really up for input because nobody's really, you know, saying this, that, or the other on these bikes. So, you know, as much as it doesn't have to be perfect, I really want it to be a close replica. I don't want it to be a replica where people look at it and kind of go, well, you know, this is wrong, this is wrong. So we're really trying to take our time with it. I think the hardest thing is going to be is detailing this motor to make it look like, you know, the gold, the red, and the blues and the blacks and all that stuff. That's why I think an airbrush gun is going to come in like really handy on this kind of stuff. But any input, man, I'd really appreciate it. Good, bad, or the other. I got pretty tough skin, so you're not going to hurt my feelings if you say something looks like crap. But that's about it. I'll come back in next, probably once I get like final fitment of these parts on here, which are probably going to be over the weekend. It's 107 in Vegas right now. It's like 94 in the daytime, so I'm really only working about a 3-hour window right now. In this garage, I got a little fan. I tried putting a little AC unit in here. It just doesn't work, you know. And we've got about at least 6-7 more weeks of shit weather of this coming. So I come out at about 6 in the morning and go to about 10, and that's about it. So please check, subscribe to it for the videos, and like I said, please, any input, good, bad, or the other, please let me know. Thanks.